Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for pressing play and being part of the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration holiday interview series. My name is Marlo Ellis. I'm a freedom coach for women, an author, and a motivational speaker. One of the things that I am so passionate about, and one of the gifts that I get to really enjoy as a freedom coach for women, is connecting with incredible, powerful, beautiful women every single day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last edition of the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration. I'm really excited to be here this evening because we have a very special guest, the woman who has been my divine inspiration for the last 47 years, my mother, Nora Ellis. Hello.
Hello.
So we can wave to each other on the camera just like we do in Anyway, this is our special Christmas edition. We have our Christmas tree with the
Which
Christmas
we did together.
star up here, and we're in the Christmas living room of my parents. Yes, and we did the Christmas tree together, which is one of our traditions. It's become a family tradition, which is one of the things that we're going to discuss this evening. We're going to talk about family tradition and the values around Christmas and just the whole Christmas crazy and how over all of your years of experience, I know there's not that many, but there's some,
a few,
how you have managed everyone and everything.
I think survived.
And kept it together. So anyway, I want to welcome you here, Mom. Thank you so much for being my special guest because I think it's really fun that you're the final conversation in the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration. So let's take a moment and just kind of reflect back on my 47 years of Christmas. For me, Christmas has always been a really special time, an exciting time, a fun time, a positive, happy time. Because I remember as a child, you put a lot of effort into making Christmas special for us children. And it really wasn't about, how much money was spent.
No, because we didn't have so much money.
Right, we didn't have, but what you did is we got to do our little Santa list, and then you tried to fulfill that as much as you could. But there were some things that were really special around Christmas. As far as memories go, and for me, one of the greatest ones was walking down the stairs in our childhood home, and at the bottom of the stairs in the living room was a big fireplace, and Santa always came and left one gift, a relatively large unwrapped gift under our stocking. And I've talked about this on another interview that the memory and the gift that stands out the most for me was the dollhouse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That looks like the house on Emerson. Yeah. And so, when we take a look at that gift, that was a gift from the heart. It was a gift that was experiential, that I spent hours with my face in that. And it wasn't something that was expensive. It's not like Dad went out and spent hundreds of dollars. What he did was he used
hours of his time,
and there was so much love put into that gift, and that is the gift that stands out for me the most as a child throughout Christmas. And so I think that that's a reflection of the values in our house.
I think that we try to avoid like the toy of the year. For example, she probably was the only girl in the world that didn't get a Cabbage Patch doll because I refused.
Right, which I'm okay with.
I simply refused to spend the kind of money that they were spending on those things. Right. I thought it was silly and ridiculous. And you didn't get Barbies until you were older.
Until I was older, and I did use my Barbies, but I didn't have
you didn't have every Barbie on Earth.
No.
You didn't have a Barbie van and a Barbie camper and a Barbie everything.
Well, I did have a Barbie camper, but it was used from a garage sale or something. Right. Like the tent was broken, but I took it.
But hey.
I took it everywhere with me. I think I even took it on a canoe trip or two.
Yes.
Right.
But I always thought that Christmas should be about family and about having fun together. I decorated the house a lot. Very happy decorations. We did things together. Like you weren't allowed to come downstairs until we all came down.
That's right. Yeah.
And
we had to wait up in the hallway.
Yeah.
Until
they would wake us up, and then we would get up and, of course, take a little bit of extra time getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids were
anticipation. We were
jumping up and down at the top.
I might have peeked a few times.
But so we did things as a family, and we tried to make it a special time, but not necessarily a time that was about what am I going to get.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, there's always that aspect, but it wasn't as much as perhaps it could have been.
Right. And that's what I remember is being surrounded by ornaments that got pulled out every year. You always did a beautiful job of decorating the home and making it a festive place to be. It was really about our environment.
Yeah.
And the environment was always positive and happy. One thing that, stands out is that as a child, I grew up with no alcohol in the house. And so we did Christmas and New Year's and all of those events sans alcohol. It was all about family and
lots
connection.
Of game playing.
Lots of games and lots of interaction. And that's what our Christmas was all about. And I feel like as a result, I've carried kind of old-fashioned values through, and we still have the same kind of Christmas now.
Yeah, we do. I really think that, well, I believe this about meals
maybe with
as
a little bit more wine. But anyway.
Well, we do have wine, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And it's so nice.
Yes.
But I always think that sometimes kids play in one room and adults talk and drink in another room. And I like the whole family to be together through the whole thing.
Right.
And that can't usually happen if there's drinking.
Right. Exactly.
So,
good point.
We didn't ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody drinks. No, actually now. But, we have wine together.
Yeah.
The boys
it's
are
not
all
a
of
crazy...
age, and but we're still all together. We don't separate.
No, we don't.
Go off in different
Like this living room
directions.
over here is where we all hang out. We hang out till everybody goes home.
That's right.
And if there's guests, which there often are, because I've talked about that as well, that we have kind of a drop and open door policy in our home. As far as Christmas, if somebody's in need, we invite them in. And everybody's in the same room. Kids are never sent downstairs.
And we play. We usually play Pictionary, which is everybody can play because everybody's equally bad at it.
Right, exactly. And so kind of diving deeper into the whole idea of values around Christmas. I know that, when it comes down to Christmas, there are certain things that I believe that I believe that you believe. I feel like you have very strong values around Christmas, and that as a result, you've passed that through, the generations. So can you share those with us?
Well, one of the things that can happen so easily, especially with women, is you get caught up being the hostess and the cook, and you kind of forget that you're the mother and the grandmother and the friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really try to stay in the moment as much as I can. And I can't tell you what a perfectionist I used to be. I stopped being perfect. I mean, I actually would stay up.
She still tries to not be perfect, but it's quite a job.
This is a true story. I used to stay up late when everybody gone to bed and wipe the tops of the door sills. Yeah. Who checks the tops of door sills? Nobody. Right. But I had to know they were clean.
And you used to clean the crystals over the chandelier over the dining room table.
With alcohol, yes.
Yes. Not drinking the alcohol. No. That was rubbing alcohol. Right. But yeah, so you were always a perfectionist around how the house looked, and it took so much of your time.
Yes, I'm not so much anymore. But I also have more time to do it ahead of time. Then I was a mother of small children and working. And so I worked hard right before Christmas. I was tired.
And you were creating, I think that you did a lot of sewing. And there was a lot going into that time.
But I was younger and I had all the energy in the world.
Right.
But so I really think that as I've gotten older, I've known more and more how important it is to remember who you are through the holidays and to be present, be yourself, and not just be the hostess, not just be the cook,
right?
But take time to be who you are, the grandmother to the grandchildren, or the mother,
right,
or the friend,
right,
and make time for people.
Yeah, I agree. You're not just a hostess, and I think that's, like you said, that's what happens. A lot of people, and as some of my girlfriends get older, they're like, I don't want to host Christmas at my house every year because I end up not being part of it. Like they have no memories. They're not in any of the pictures.
Yeah, it's just kind of a blur of work.
Right. And that's not what it's about.
No. And it shouldn't be, but it often is. Of course, I always say about Dad that he is the best guest at our parties.
Well, exactly.
People always come, he takes their coats off, and then he just is one of the guests, and I have to remind him, you're the host.
But see, he's doing what you're talking about, which is he's being present.
He's very present.
So we won't let him watch this. Okay, so then you have something else here about living in the moment. And I know that last year you gave this really beautiful speech at the church, which was wonderful. And you really talked about how your perspective over the years shifted around Christmas. And that Christmas wasn't always what you anticipated it to be. And of course, you can decorate the home, you can have all these beautiful things going on, but then it doesn't always go as planned. Kids fight, somebody says something, somebody's hurt, somebody forgets somebody else's Christmas present, which has happened, oops, a few times. And so how do you deal with that?
Well, all you have to do is read anything around Christmas, and one of the things they'll say is that it is often ends up to be a really frustrating and sad time for people, particularly women, because we anticipate what it's going to be like, and it isn't.
Right.
Right now, my house is as clean and as neat and as good as it's going to get because the family arrives tomorrow.
Right.
And it'll all start falling apart. And so, look around because this is as good as it's going to be.
Right.
But I let that,
You're good with that
happen.
now.
If there's socks hanging on a table, there's socks hanging on a table for a while anyway.
Right.
But we anticipate that people are going to be perfect and that things are going to be perfect, and they aren't.
Right.
And so you kind of have to let go of that. And then and I remember, and I've talked about this, and so Cheryl has heard this, my daughter-in-law, the year the kids got cell phones, they just weren't present. Right. They were connected to everybody except us. Mm-hmm. And we were
adjustment period.
Oh, it was an awful. It was new. It was a new thing.
Right.
And I think lots of families go through this. And I didn't do the drop the cell phones at the door thing. I just suffered through it. Mm-hmm. But when I would look around, I thought, what about this moment do I love? Because there's always something to love.
Right.
And that's been kind of one of the things that got me through some of these tough times is, okay, now what about
I'm going to try to find some good in my family.
And there's always something to love. And in that day it was, here they were.
They're present.
Being themselves.
Right.
And this is who they were that year.
Right. Yeah.
They were cell phone users and teenagers.
And I'm guessing that as women are watching this, they're going, holy cow. That's my family.
That absolutely.
And I think it's very, and you come from a different generation. There's a whole generation of parents out there that are just as bad and that are now recognizing that they're starting to catch themselves all the time with their face in their phone. And I understand. I run my business from my phone and I get it. And
I remember
every
the year
once
that
in a
you
while,
were on almost all the whole Christmas because
right.
You had some big
I had
business
stuff
deal
going on. Yeah.
And
that's right. Yeah. So, and it's all, everything is relative, but I think it's really important, like you said, to go back and think, okay, what about this moment is great? Because my whole family's here.
Yeah.
There are families out there who aren't blessed to have every single person in the family present this Christmas. And so I think, when we look at it like that, we're like, okay, I can handle that she's on her cell phone.
Find the positive things.
Right.
And so the easy thing to do is just say to yourself, what about this moment do I love?
Right.
Not just what's good, but what do I love?
What do I love?
You'll find something that you love, invariably.
Absolutely.
And in that case, it was that my grandsons were actually here.
Right.
Yeah, they were here.
Exactly. And I think it's, kind of just to end this, I think one of the things that's really important to focus in on is the whole purpose of Christmas and the whole reason why we each have a role, right? We each have a role within the family. We each have a role within our community. We have our own values and expectations of ourselves. And so I think that coming into the Christmas holidays and, we're getting very close. I think that this interview will actually go up like the day before, so what can I know Shanti's quite excited about this whole thing. She's here having a good time. So what are some things that we can remember just personally, about personal responsibility and all of that in this time?
Well, of course, we always want to remember who we are. And if you haven't discovered who you are, you should be looking for that. I know that's one of the things that you help people with is to find there is a purpose for us. There's a purpose for us in the big picture, and there's purpose for us in the smaller day-to-day stuff. We do things that impact other people, and that's our purpose for that day was to do that.
Right.
So I think we need to be aware of our opportunities to all the good things. Be kind, to be present, to hear something that somebody is saying that maybe is being lost in everything, to be listening and hearing it and maybe stopping and just, being there for that person who may have just dropped a gem into the middle of a conversation that nobody heard because it's Christmas and everything's just crazy.
Right. One thing that you said that kind of struck me was when you said that look for the opportunity. And we all know that at Christmas, there is infinite opportunity to be kind to people, to reach out to people who you know are alone, to, if you have somebody in the family who's sad and suffering, whether there's a breakup or a loss or a job or a relationship, or just be there for, reach out to them instead of kind of getting self-absorbed.
Yeah, which we do.
Just being present with that person. And if you find that they're kind of in the corner or they're not socializing with everybody, just go and sit with them. Just sit with them. Sometimes just having somebody sit beside you through the conversation is good enough, right? I mean, I've had some Christmases that were difficult, and sometimes it was just a matter of my brother coming and sitting beside me, putting his hand on my knee, and just being like, I'm present. But that's all. He didn't have to say anything because there was another conversation going on, and he doesn't want to make a big, how are you, in the middle of the room, right? But just, anyway, taking those opportunities in the time to be present and to be of service to others, I think is really a huge piece.
Really kind of what it's about, but it gets lost in Christmas so often, is a time when there's a lot of giving. Mm-hmm. But if we aren't giving to if we're giving money to the Salvation Army and we're giving money to this and we're giving money to that, but we're not giving of ourselves to the people that we love the most, kind of lost.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. So anyway, I want to thank you so much for 47 wonderful Christmases, or 46 going on 47. And
that's not making it worse than it is.
And I really truly believe that so much of what I feel around Christmas and the joy and the excitement and all that was created by you and Dad and by our family, and the way that, the way that Christmas was managed as a family. And we actually still look forward to Christmas Day. We actually like each other. We enjoy each other's company, and we look forward to Christmas.
We don't even fight.
No, hardly at all.
Hardly.
But it's just nice to know that every Christmas I can come home, or Roy can come home, or Gordon, Cheryl, and the boys can come out here,
way, yes.
and that we're all together, and that we all have a lot of fun. And so, I remember you said that your mom used to say to you, Nora, whatever you do, have fun. And don't forget who you are. And I think that through the holidays, that's perfect advice.
It is.
Right?
Yes.
So thank you so much. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. And thank you for joining us on the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration. I wish you the happiest of holidays with your family and with your loved ones. And we'll see you next year.
So do I.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I really hope that you enjoyed today's message. I know that I loved interviewing all of these incredible women. You will notice that some of the interviews for the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration are brand spanking new. And then others were actually videos that I pulled up from the archives because I thought that the messages were so powerful. And I thought that they needed to be heard one more time before the end of 2016. I really encourage you to find the women who have messages that resonated with you. Follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, dive into their websites, and really become part of their community, because they are changing the world. Again, my name is Marlo Ellis, and I really want to thank you one more time for being part of my community over the last year, and for pressing play and being part of the 12 Days of Divine Inspiration. Have an incredible year, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.